Hey everyone, and welcome back to Rank and File Sports. And today we're going to be taking a look at the CBS Bracketology from Friday morning. And we'll go ahead and run through this, given our predictions, kind of give you an idea of who the favorites are, maybe a couple early round upsets. And we'll go ahead and do it a little bit differently than last time as well. Instead of going round by round, we'll just do each region. So we'll go through all of these games in the South region before moving on to this bottom corner here, kind of like that. But first off, we'll go through the first four. Got Georgia and Indiana. What do you think, Connor?
Indiana's kind of had a roller coaster of a season. Um, I just think Georgia has consistently been a solid team throughout the course of the season, and they're playing in the best conference in basketball. So I like Georgia in this one. I do think it could be
I
an interesting game, though.
I think Indiana could maybe make it a little bit closer than people would expect, but yeah, I like Georgia there. We'll go ahead and just do Southern, keep that the same. Xavier and Boise State's another interesting matchup. I think Boise State's actually kind of underrated out of the Mountain West. I mean, this is an at-large bid.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know a whole lot about Boise State, so I'll defer to you on this one. I just know Xavier in the past has been a good
Yeah,
team. But I'll defer to you on this and go Boise
I'm
State.
I'm gonna go Boise State here, and then we'll stick with Southeast Missouri State getting the win over Quinnipiac. All right, so first region, I think we'll go Auburn over Southern, and then Illinois San Diego State. I actually like this matchup for Illinois.
I do too. I think Illinois is going to be one of those teams where if they get hot at the right time, they can be a serious upset team, a good Cinderella run, even though they are an eight seed. But they can make a run, beat some good teams if they hit their stride at the right time. But SDSU can give them a run for their money.
Yeah. Now Clemson and UC San Diego. I know UC San Diego's have been a very popular upset pick for a lot of people, but I really, really like this Clemson team. So personally, I think this is a Clemson win, no doubt.
Yeah, I could see this going either way. I'm gonna lean Clemson for now. I do think UC San Diego is going to make that an interesting game, but the Clemson is obviously with Duke the two best teams in the ACC, and I think they're actually proven teams. So I do like Clemson to make a little bit of a run in this tournament and get a win here.
Yeah, and now Iowa State Akron, this is maybe the first spot where we could see an upset. I still would lean Iowa State.
I am too. While it obviously could be an upset, I do think Iowa State is probably going to be rated a lot lower than they should be just because they've had to deal with these injuries the past week or two. And I think that actually might favor them a little bit because they're not gonna have to deal with some of these harder matchups, maybe an 8 or 9 seed or a 10 seed.
Yeah. The next matchup, 6-11, we have Louisville and VCU. And personally, I hate that these two teams are getting matched up in the first round because I actually think both of these teams have the Cinderella potential to get to the Elite Eight round if they get the right matchups. So I hate that one of them has to go out in the first round here, but I am going to lean with the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's about time Louisville had a decent run in the tournament again.
Yeah, it's been over a decade since they have even made the tournament. So this would be huge for them. Potentially getting matched up against their rival Kentucky in the second round. Very interesting matchup. I don't actually think it's going to happen. If JMU and Kentucky play, I am picking JMU all the way.
I'll go with you on this one. I can.
Changing changing the pick from last week because that was actually a matchup in bracketology last week.
Mhm.
I I regretted not picking JMU. So I get the matchup again. I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. St. Mary's, Oklahoma is also a really interesting matchup. Oklahoma's had a terrible time in SEC play, but I feel like they could give the St. Mary's team a really good game.
Yeah, I do think it will be a competitive game, and Oklahoma was like a top 15 team early on in the season. Like you said, SEC play has been their downfall. And that could be a positive if you look at it that way, that they're playing in the best conference in basketball. So the fact that they can still compete with those teams shouldn't be that much of a low light for them. But on the other side, I've seen a lot of stuff about the St. Mary's team, how they're kind of propelling themselves into this tournament and looking like a team that can make a run even at a 7 seed. I'm kind of torn on this one. If you feel strongly one way or another, I'll go with you on that. But I don't think there's necessarily a wrong pick here.
We'll go with St. Mary's, but yeah, I agree that not necessarily a wrong pick. Wisconsin and Montana, give it to the
Sorry,
Badgers.
sorry for you.
All right, Auburn and Illinois. I
Yeah,
think Auburn should get through that one.
like I said, unless Illinois catches fire and hits their stride, I don't see them winning this matchup. I got Auburn in this one.
Yeah. I know last week we had Auburn going out in the second round, I think.
They were playing Creighton in that one, and we really like
Yeah.
that Creighton team.
Yeah, Clemson and Iowa State. Personally, I'm taking Clemson.
This is a tough one. I think in the last bracket, this might have been what, an Elite Eight matchup or a Sweet 16 matchup.
It was
Um,
something like that.
so I think this could be an interesting game. Like I said, it's weird with Iowa State being at a 4 seed that they're gonna have to play this Clemson team. Um, I'll go with Clemson again. Like I was saying earlier, I think Clemson is a proven team out of the
Yeah.
ACC.
Yeah. I think with this Louisville JMU matchup, probably where JMU's run is going to end here. They'll end up being just a one and done first round upset team. I like the Cardinals.
Agreed.
St. Mary's and Wisconsin. This would be, oof, this one's tough because I do think Wisconsin's got a really good team. But again, like the Big Ten sometimes just chokes in March Madness, and I could also totally see St. Mary's winning this game.
I could too, but I'm gonna lean Wisconsin on that one. For your Big Ten point, I got some stuff I think later on for you on that. But I do really like
Yeah,
this Wisconsin team. I think the Big Ten play has been really entertaining to watch because this last like 3 weeks of the season has been ranked matchup after ranked matchup between Michigan State, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Purdue, along with other competitive Big Ten teams. So I do think that them playing each other at this point in the season is going to set them up for some success during the tournament.
all right. Auburn and Clemson.
For me, I think this is where Clemson's run is going to end. I think I like Auburn in this one. Only
I'll go.
in
I'll go ahead and go with that for now. But
part
I
of that
did.
it
I
go ahead.
I really do like this Clemson team. So I'm not going to say there's no chance because Clemson
No.
definitely could pull off this upset. But we've been hating on Auburn for too long.
That's what I was gonna say. I think Auburn and the other bracketology has got kind of a crummy matchup, like against that Creighton team that we really like, and I think we picked Creighton both times, and I think it's time to show them a little bit of love and really
Yeah,
honor the fact that they are the overall #1 seed.
if you look at all of our bracketologies once March Madness is over, I feel pretty confident that we'll at least have had every team who ends up making the Final Four into a Final Four of one of our brackets. Louisville and Wisconsin, I I really don't want to have a 1-2 here. And I feel like Louisville could make this run all the way to the Elite Eight. I said it right at the beginning when I
I,
said either Louisville or VCU could make an Elite Eight run.
I don't hate it. I like Louisville in this one. I think it'd be an interesting game, but I think Louisville can shock the world in this one, make a good run.
Yeah. First Elite Eight matchup is going to be Auburn and Louisville. Next region, we got Houston and Omaha,
Houston.
and then BYU, Utah State. This one is pretty. I mean, I do like BYU by a little bit, but I feel like you got to go with BYU just to set up that second round Cougars v. Cougars matchup.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I really like this BYU team after what they did to Kansas a week ago.
Arizona and Drake. I think Arizona should win this. I know we've picked a first round upset from Drake. I think both bracketologies that we've done, but this time I do like Arizona.
Yeah, with the Drake upsets, it's always been a team that's had some questions, and Arizona is one of those teams that I think can make a deep run. We saw them as high as a 2 seed in some earlier bracketologies. I think a 5 might be a little low for how good that team can be,
Yeah,
but
I'm surprised Missouri's a 4 over
yeah,
Arizona. And just to hop into that, Missouri and Yale, this I really am torn. A lot of these SEC teams are like we're going to see a couple who go out in the first round that are just completely unexpected, and I could see that happening here. I just don't know if Yale does it again as a 13 over an SEC team at the 4. That would be
Es-
that'd be very surprising in my opinion.
especially because the thing that's stuck in my mind is Missouri putting up what 110 points against Alabama.
Yeah, this Missouri team has an incredibly strong offense, and I mean Missouri Arizona is going to be an absolute shootout. That would be a great
Yeah.
game. Mississippi State and Boise State. You are gonna hate me for this because you I know you love this Mississippi State team, but if this were me, I would pick Boise State.
I can go with it. I feel like we always have one of those first four teams in go on a little bit of a run or at least win their first game. And I do think Mississippi State, as much as I love them picking and love picking them, I'm fine with picking Boise State in this one. Only because I think I like Boise State from what you've told me a little bit more than picking Georgia.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. And then we got Michigan over Towson.
I don't know anything about Towson, but
I
maybe Michigan gets a little bit of a scare there.
West
Maybe.
Virginia and UCLA. I like West Virginia here. I I had UCLA winning at Purdue tonight, and evidently that did not happen.
Yeah, I'm good with West Virginia. I think UCLA can maybe have a size advantage, but I think they're a little all over the place, a little too
I
much.
just
And
I can't trust this UCLA team really. And then I like Tennessee over Central Connecticut. Houston BYU. This would be a really good matchup, I think. I'd have to check to see how it's gone in the Big 12 regular season. But just I feel like this Houston team is really solid. I think they'll get it done.
my gut says Houston because that defense is gonna be what carries them through the tournament, and whatever BYU has, I'm pretty sure BYU can stop them, or Houston can stop them. Regular
Yeah.
season wise, Houston won at home 86 to 55. That was in early January, and I think that's the only
Okay.
time they've played.
I would say BYU's gotten better since then. So
Hmm.
I think this would be a much closer game.
For
Arizona,
sure.
Missouri, I like the Tigers.
I'm leaning Wildcats in this one. Just it's just because I feel like the highest peak of Arizona is better than the highest peak of Mizzou. And I feel it feels weird saying that considering what I said earlier with Mizzou dropping 110 points or whatever against Alabama, who's a 1 seed in this tournament. But Arizona's had to match up the last couple of weeks against Houston and Texas Tech, who are two very good teams out of the Big 12, and both can make runs in this tournament. I'm kind of torn on this one, but We can go Mizzou for right now.
We've picked Arizona to go far, so maybe
True.
well,
Give someone else a shot.
yeah, and I think this would be quite the matchup. We'll get to that in a second. Boise State and Michigan. I think this is a win
Okay.
between win.
Eh. This comparison I've had in my head is that the last, what, 10 games or something that Michigan's played is comparable to like the Chiefs during the regular season. They've been winning the games, but I saw something where like 7 of their last 9 games where they've had 7 wins have been decided by like less than 4 points or something, including that buzzer beater they had against Nebraska.
Well, their their 6 game winning streak, which was ended by Michigan State, was all within 4 points every
Mm.
game.
So,
So the only thing that concerns me about that is just the fact that they know how to win those close games. So even if they get a scare, I think they can close it out.
and that's what I was thinking. Like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, do you penalize them because, oh, they're playing close games against unranked teams out of the Big Ten, particularly unranked teams in the Big Ten that are not as good. But then they're also keeping those close games with those highly ranked teams like Michigan State, like Purdue, like Wisconsin. So I don't know. I'm fine with picking Michigan in this one, but we've had them going pretty far in some previous bracketologies, and I don't think that's going to be the case for me at least anymore. I do think they're a good team, but like you were saying earlier with Wisconsin, I can definitely see like a Big Ten flame out from a good team, and I think Michigan is one of my high candidates for that.
But I'm okay with going Boise State there. I mean, it definitely could happen. I'm not really a huge fan of any of these first 4 teams making big runs, but I could see Boise getting to the Sweet 16
I
potentially.
mean, we can have Michigan for that one because I don't know about you, but I'm picking Tennessee to beat West Virginia. And then I'd like Tennessee over Michigan in that one. I know I'm
That
jumping
works
the
for
gun a
me.
little bit.
That's all right. We'll head back up to Houston and Missouri, and this is incredible. You have one of the nation's the nation's best defense versus one of the nation's best offenses. And people say that defense wins championships, but I don't know why. I like Mizzou here.
Man, that's tough. And I think part of you is saying that because you don't want a 1-2 in the Elite Eight again.
Well,
Um,
one twos can happen,
I know
but
they can happen,
I
but I
I
know
feel
I
like
know you and I know you don't want to
Missouri.
have one.
Here's my take. Houston, while their defense is very good, they are not going to hold Missouri to 60 points.
True.
Missouri's going to be able to score, 80, 90 on this Houston team, and they're going to force Houston to have to keep up. And I think if this becomes a shootout, that's more of Missouri style. And I do think that Missouri can win this game.
You've convinced me. I'm fine with picking Missouri in this one then.
Incredible. All right. Well, I mean, we have 3 SEC teams in the first half of our Elite Eight now, also.
Oh well.
How about that? All
Things
right.
happen.
Give me Duke over SEMO.
Yep,
I also like UConn over Vanderbilt.
I do too. I think Vandy is a good team, but I'm gonna take the experience of UConn and hope that they get it together.
Yeah, I don't really like that matchup for Vandy. Texas Tech should beat Liberty, in my opinion.
Yep.
And then
And here we
I,
are.
yeah, High Point. I did some more research on some of the mid majors this week. High Point has upset potential, and talk about a team who likes to be upset in the first round.
Yeah, give me High Point.
I'm with you
No,
there.
no reasoning behind it other than High Point's got the upset potential, and they're going up against Purdue in the first round. That's all the reasoning you need.
Yeah, Purdue can check them off the list of teams who have upset them alongside, Farley Dickinson. That I don't even know anymore with Purdue. They had their run
It's a
last year.
lot.
They had their run last year. It's time for them to get upset again. Memphis and Arkansas. We've picked Arkansas to go far a couple of times, but I feel like this Memphis team has been a little bit underappreciated. And this is a tough matchup for me, in my opinion. I like Memphis here.
Um, I don't know a whole lot about Memphis. I do like the Arkansas team just because they do have Calipari at head coach. And I do think that at times they have been a pretty elite team. Uh, it's just a matter of do I think they can do that in the tournament? Can that translate? And
Well, I'm just trying to pick Calipari to go as exactly as far as he did in March Madness this year as he did last year.
I guess, yeah. But then also, I mean, I don't want to think about it that way, but I wouldn't have them losing, or I wouldn't have them winning in the next round anyway. Like, I'm not gonna pick Memphis
Yeah,
or Arkansas to beat St. John's, but we can, considering if we want to think about it this way, I know it was the first game of the season, but considering Memphis does have a win over Mizzou all the way back in November, give me Memphis, I guess.
all right, we'll go
Memphis
St.
actually
John's
has
over
a Memphis
Chattanooga.
actually has a ton of solid wins now that I saw. They got a win over
They
Michigan State, Mizzou, and one other like highly ranked team as well. So yeah, maybe they are a little underappreciated.
that's kind of what I was saying. Maryland down to a 7 seed this week. I think this was made after the Michigan State loss. I do think that Maryland is better than Gonzaga, though. I know Gonzaga is one of the teams that, with them being a low seed, people are saying they could potentially make a little bit of a run. But I actually like this Maryland team here.
Yeah, I like Maryland in this one. I don't know how much I like them as a whole. Like I'm seeing a couple people think that they're like a fringe title contender, and I don't think they're exactly all that. I do think they have a lot of size that is hard to defend against, but I
They
wouldn't
have the
quite say.
potential. They have the potential to make a run, in my opinion, but I don't know if they'll make it past the Elite Eight. I
Yeah.
think I think they're kind of similar to Louisville, where they'd probably cap out there.
Mhm.
Second round, Duke and UConn.
Cooper
I
Flag.
Yeah, this is a Blue Devils win. I also think that Texas Tech, unlike Purdue, will be able to beat High Point.
Agreed.
Memphis and St. John's. I know you said St. John's here, and we will go with St. John's, but I wouldn't completely write Memphis off because I do think they could totally pull that upset
Yeah,
off.
yeah, I agree with you, but I really like the St. John's team, and I really want to see them succeed in the tournament this year, considering this has been a long time coming for them. So I'm gonna pick St. John's to go pretty far in probably every bracket that I make. Um, I have no allegiance to them. I'm just like, yeah, you're finally back here for like the first time in what, like 4 decades, maybe something like that.
It's definitely hard not to root for certain teams,
Mhm.
which influences brackets.
For sure.
And
Yeah,
this next matchup, Maryland and Florida. I feel like you, I'm gonna have to convince you here because
probably are a little bit.
I want to pick Maryland.
Man, it's hard because I can understand why you want to for several reasons. One is because you're gonna want to have some upsets. You're gonna want a two seat going
We
down at some
we
point
do
early
need
on.
we don't have a single one or two out in the second round yet.
Um, I just don't know if
And
Florida is that team.
I mean they did just drop off of the one line this week. They're
I
actually
guess
less than 50% odds to get back up to the one line. Houston's looking pretty favorable for that now.
probably
And
Florida would just. need to win
This
the
matchup,
SEC.
I think Maryland is also seated too low right now as a 7. So I think this probably won't actually happen in the second round.
Yeah.
But because this is a second round matchup, I think it's a bad matchup for Florida.
I think it is too, but yeah, Florida's been so good offensively and has shut down some good teams too. Like again, I know transitive property doesn't work and games happen way earlier in the season, but considering we have Tennessee in our Elite Eight and Florida beat them by what, 40, like 2 months ago or something like that.
That doesn't
It's
count.
what do you mean it doesn't count? You beat the
This
former
is
number
March.
one team in the
This
country.
is March Madness. This is March Madness. Give me the Terps. The
Fine.
Turtles finally get their revenge against the Gators.
You can pick the
At least,
Terps. I'm
yeah.
not agreeing with you. I'm just conceding it because if I don't, then we're gonna be here all night.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna give that up. Just you wait, because I'm gonna keep fighting. Duke and Texas Tech, I like Duke here.
Yep.
Glad we agree on that. Now we can go ahead and disagree because I want to
No,
pick I want to
we're
pick
not
Maryland
picking
again.
Maryland. We're not picking Maryland. Not this time.
All right. Well, Maryland would beat St. John's, but that's all right. We'll let you can live in your little St. John's delusion for right now.
What do you mean it's St. John's delusion? You're the one that wants Maryland going up against Cooper Flag, and knowing you, you're gonna say, "Oh, Maryland's gonna beat Duke in the Elite Eight and go on
I
to the Final Four."
I would not say that actually. That's a stupid thing to say.
Uh-huh,
Uh,
sure.
Give me Alabama over Bryant.
Creighton. Love this Creighton team.
I I do think Creighton beats New Mexico. I think Oregon beats McNeese.
Yep, McNeese let me down last year. I'm not picking him again.
I'm surprised Marquette's up to a 4 seed. I haven't seen them higher than a 6 in other projections.
I don't know. I mean, because their only major losses have been to other ranked teams in the Big East or just other good tournament teams. 'Cause they had that loss to St. John that was like single digits. And then other than that, I think they've been pretty dominant.
Kansas and Georgia. We've had Kansas going out first round, both other brackets. I don't think they do this time.
I don't think they
I
do
like
either.
I like Kansas to beat Georgia at least,
Mhm.
and then A&M should beat Utah Valley.
Yep.
Ole Miss and Nebraska, both bracketologies. I know you have picked against Nebraska because you don't think they deserve to get their first March Madness win. In my opinion, this is a good matchup for Nebraska. I think that if Nebraska faces Ole Miss in the first round, the Huskers will get their first ever March Madness win.
I I don't know. It's not just because I don't want to see Nebraska get a win. It's not entirely that reason. It's a good chunk of it, but it's not entirely. I
It
do
would be
think, I
fun.
mean, I don't know. Part of it is just where they are in the Big Ten standings. I know that doesn't mean everything, but considering they're hanging around that like 10 seed for Big Ten standings with other teams that are kind of floating around like the bubble for making the tournament at all, like Ohio State even. Like I don't know. For me, that just makes me think, okay, Nebraska is on the same level as a team like Ohio State. That like sure they have potential, but I'm not gonna hold out hope and think they're gonna get a win. So we can pick Nebraska for this one only because they're not beating Michigan State in the next round, but
Well, who
I
said
don't
we're
know.
picking Michigan State?
Well, we're picking Michigan State.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. We're not going to pick
If
Rob.
you could tell me one thing about Robert Morris's basketball team, I would pay you. I don't
They
know
have
how
scored
much, but I would pay you.
they have scored more than 0 points every game this season.
Wow.
We might have to check that later. I just made that stat up, but I feel pretty good about it. Alabama and Creighton. I know you like Creighton, but I think this is a game that the Alabama team would win.
Hey man, we need a one seed to lose at some point.
But
We've had
we
Cre-
can have them lose soon.
we've had
We had
Creighton
Houston losing the Sweet
beat them.
16.
Eh, we need a
We
team
picked
to lose before the Sweet 16.
we don't have to. We picked a 7 seed over a 2, remember? Maryland's going to beat Florida.
We can pick Alabama, I guess. I'm picking Creighton
I
personally once again, but we can pick
I mean,
Alabama
we've had a lot of 8 seed runs from Creighton. And
because they shouldn't be.
well,
Well, they shouldn't be an eight seed. I don't understand why everyone keeps having them at an eight seed.
well, maybe you should get hired by ESPN then and do a
Maybe I
better
should.
bracketology.
Maybe I
Oregon and
should.
Marquette. This is a tough matchup, honestly.
I'm. I don't know what to think about this. My gut says Marquette. I know Oregon had a very good start to their season. It's kind of evened out. They've had some close games. I know they got a win recently against Wisconsin. I'm kind of torn on this one.
We can go ahead and go with Marquette. You said that was your gut. We'll trust it this time.
I don't know what it is, but
I don't
it's
trust it when you
something.
say St. John's over Maryland, but I'll let you have Marquette over Oregon. Kansas and Texas A&M.
Thinking, ooh, wait. You know what? I'm actually going to show Kansas a little bit of love. I think Kansas will get the job done here. I think A&M is a good team, but I think come March Madness, Hunter Dickinson is going to take it another level up and is going to make Kansas a bit of a dark horse team.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn because I think we've had both of these teams going out very early both times. So I feel bad not picking A&M, but we'll go with Kansas for now. We'll try and show the Aggies some love if they can get a good matchup next week.
Yeah,
Nebraska,
kind
Michigan State, that's
of
going to be
Michigan State.
Sparty. Yeah, that's Sparty all the way. All right. You hate the 1 seeds, so fine. I'll give you
No,
Marquette over Alabama now.
no, that's not what I was going to say, though.
You keep disagreeing with me. I don't like this. All right, so we're picking Alabama then.
I'm picking Alabama. I think Marquette's good, and I think they would get a win over Oregon, but I did see that they did just lose like 81 to 67 to Villanova. Villanova's kind of a sneaky good team. They should end up making the tournament, in my opinion. But
They probably just had that one guy drop like 40 points in the game or
yeah,
something.
probably. Hey, you can't have the leading scorer in the nation not in the tournament.
Yeah, Kansas and Michigan State. This one should be Sparty.
Yeah, there's our lead eight.
All right. First Final Four team between Auburn and Louisville. It should be Auburn here.
Yeah, I think Louisville's run will come to an end there.
Now we have an SEC matchup with Missouri and Tennessee, a 4 seed and a 2 seed. Call me crazy, but give me the Tigers.
I like the Tigers in this one too. I'm starting to trust this Tennessee
Amazing.
team a little bit more than I was initially when we started doing the bracketology videos. I don't think Mizzou's going to run away with this one, but I do think Mizzou will have a very good chance in this one just because how explosive their offense is.
Well, hey, we got an all Tigers matchup in the Final Four. Duke and St. John's. This has got to be where St.
It,
John's run comes to an end.
it is. I think at the end of the day, Duke's talent is going to be the difference maker in that. Not to say that St. John isn't a talented team. I just think the majority, the bulk of Duke's talent is greater than St. John's talent. That's just
Yeah.
because it's Duke. It is the like perennial program of college basketball.
And for the record, I would have picked Duke over Maryland as well.
Sure. I
All
guess we'll
right.
never know.
Oh, well, we do know. I just said I would have. Alabama and Michigan State. I
Sparty.
no. Alabama, the offense is too good. The Alabama offense is too good.
Michigan
I
State
know
is
it's
the
it's
hottest
so,
team in basketball.
which is what March Madness is for, to end that.
Isn't Alabama on like a 7 game win streak or something right now anyway?
So they're
You
Michigan
want
State
you
supposed to be?
want you want 3 1 seeds in your final
No, I
four.
don't. I think this is incredibly boring in my opinion. But I do want Bama to win this game because I think they would win this game. I'm trying
I
to be
personally
realistic
don't.
based on these matchups. All right. Well, rock, paper, scissors.
Ready?
Yep.
Paper, scissors, shoot. Paper, scissors, shoot.
All right. Michigan State it is.
I think it'd be a good one though. I did see something where I think what's his name? Atkins or Akins, whatever the point guard's name
I think
is
it's
shooting
pronounced Akins.
Akins, he's shooting like 30% from three or something. Something pretty low for a point guard, but I do think Michigan State will have a good run in this one. But I will give you this. I will take Duke over Michigan State in the Battle of the
Oh,
Blue
good.
Bloods.
Because I wasn't gonna give you a Michigan State win there. This Duke
Oh,
team
I,
is
I, ca-
incredible.
I, ca- I can be realistic. Now, on the other hand, are you thinking what I'm
Don't
thinking?
don't even try and say Missouri.
What do
I'm
you
sorry, but
mean?
I
What do you
I
mean?
no. If it gets to this point, Auburn is not going to lose in the Final Four unless it's to Houston. I think that's the only team in this region that can beat Auburn is Houston. And they're not matched up against Houston. They're matched up against Missouri. This, I mean, either way, the Tigers are going to win, but you're trying to pick the wrong Tigers. This is Auburn.
Oh, what? Just have the number one overall seed go all the way?
Well, yeah,
Spoil.
we have the number one overall seed and the number two overall seed. What a fun bracket. But don't tell me that you wouldn't love to see an Auburn and Duke matchup.
I don't know. Maybe I have a
I
little bit
mean,
of a grudge towards Auburn from last year when they should have been in it as a 4 seed, but lost to Yale
you know,
instead.
you know, this would be such a good game. I mean, we can just looking at basketball right now. Auburn and Duke are the two best teams in college basketball. It's very clear. This is an incredible matchup. And if this game were played today, I would pick Duke. And I can't really see, you know, why I wouldn't pick Duke if this game were to happen on April 7th. So personally, I'm going Blue Devils.
I'm going Tigers on this one. Auburn has been one of the most consistent teams all year. I think the biggest thing that's sticking out for me, because what, they're Duke and Auburn have the same record or around the same record, right? I think Auburn's
They do.
26 and
Uh,
2, Duke is
I think they're
what,
25 and 3.
25 and 3.
It's like a one game difference.
And again, not that it matters, but Auburn's losses are to Florida at home was by 9, and then I think an earlier season loss to maybe was it Iowa or not Iowa? Oh, it was to Duke by 6 points at at Duke at Cameron Indoor.
I went ahead and just put tie because we're split on this one.
I
Connor
I
Connor
don't
has Auburn, and I have Duke.
I really don't know in this one. I just
So
think
another reason to put it as a tie.
I think this is my biggest thing. This is my biggest thing. Auburn, as I just said, has two losses. That's to Duke and that's to Florida. Duke has a loss to Clemson. Yes, we think very highly of this Clemson team, but we also have Auburn beating Clemson. Not that that is what it's about. Not that
Then
transit property
why do you
works.
keep applying it?
Because it's my reasoning.
Well, I
I
think
think
it's flawed
Auburn
logic.
Well, I think Auburn is a better team than Clemson, and I think if Clemson can beat Duke, then I think Auburn can beat Duke.
Well, then go ahead and pick Auburn, but I'm still
Well,
going to
that's
pick
what I'm
Duke.
doing. We're
Yeah,
gonna be in
all
a
right,
tie.
very
I'm just
good.
trying to
Yeah,
justify my reasoning.
I don't have to justify my reasoning because I'm right. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video.